Hello, my name is Michael, and today I'll be showcasing Banner Engineering's integration with the Tulip platform. Banner makes a variety of industrial lights and sensors that can be easily configured from within Tulip and Node-RED. These junction blocks attached to the pegboard are all connected to Banner's Modbus-enabled lights and sensors and are all routed to an edge I/O using a singular RS-485 cable. This way, you can configure a number of devices without needing much additional hardware. All of these devices are configured using Modbus nodes from within Node-RED that communicate directly to your Tulip instance using Tulip tag nodes and connectors. The first step of this application allows us to control the animation modes and colors for the Modbus-enabled lights connected to the junction blocks. For instance, if we want a flashing red light, we can simply select those parameters and send them to the designated light. As you can see, this K50 light is now flashing red. We can control all of our lights directly in our Tulip application using basic trigger functionality. On this step, we can also see a current reading and an ambient temperature reading coming from the current sensor and the temperature and humidity sensor. The current sensor is currently linked to one of the HMIs we have in the tech and is currently reading the AC RMS current going into it. And this temperature sensor is reading the ambient temperature from within the room. These are both machines configured within Tulip that are sending data directly to the platform through Tulip tag nodes. Since these show up as machines within Tulip, we can also use machine triggers to enable logic based on the live values, extending the functionality in our Tulip app. In addition, Banner makes a selection of 24-volt devices that are configured through GPIO. If we press on this andon alert button, we can see that the andon turns red in addition to this K30. This is all done through Tulip triggers that are simply turning the relevant GPIO pins on or off. If we press return, we can see that the andon returns to green as well as the K30. GPIO pins are controlled directly in a Tulip trigger, allowing for anyone to easily configure their app to control these devices without ever needing to open Node-RED. Moving on to the 7-segment step, we can use either numerical or ASCII input to change the value shown on the display, in addition to setting the functions of the decimal places, whether we want them flashing, steady, or off. If we want the display to read 100 with all the decimal points flashing, it's as simple as selecting those parameters and setting it to the devices. As you can see, this topmost K50 Pro Touch display is now reading 100 with all the decimal points flashing. These are controlled in our Tulip app via connector function, sending data to Banner's Modbus node in Node-RED. Finally, the sensor data step displays information related to all the sensor-enabled devices. We can see a visualization of the AC RMS current going into the HMI, as well as extended information coming from the temperature and humidity sensor that we saw in the first step of the application. In addition, we can create Tulip machines from the devices that detect motion. These pictolights will increment in value anytime they detect motion. This would be a great use case for inventory tracking or tracking completed orders and assemblies. Here, the display currently reads 0, but as soon as we place something beneath it, it turns to 1, as well as reflecting its state in the Tulip machine. This applies for all the devices on this step, like this K50 optical sensor. The Pro Touch display also has 2 zones that can be linked to a Tulip machine. As we can see, the machine state is changed when either of these zones are pressed. Moreover, we have configured this light to increment whenever the top zone is pressed and decrement whenever the bottom zone is pressed. This could also be used to track completed assemblies for an order or a number of scrapped parts. Using Tulip triggers, we can also control multiple lights at once. If neither of these pictolights are detecting motion, the andon and the center K30 remain red, and with both detecting motion, both of these lights would turn green. This would be a great use case for order tracking and station management, as an andon light could be used to show operators if a station is currently being worked on or is idle. Tulip offers a lot of flexibility when it comes to connecting, configuring, and controlling Banner's lights and sensors, both through Node-RED and Tulip triggers. To learn more or book a demo to experience Tulip for yourself, be sure to visit us at tulip.co.